Hello, I am a nerd. Did you know that the British led a terrible genocide on the Irish for moral reform? That's right, baby. We're talking about the Irish Potato Famine. So, this tragic event started in 1845. A farmer went to test his potato crop, and he pulls out a potato and finds it slimy. Then he checks another plant, and another, and another. They are all rotten. He cuts one open and finds it to be as terrible as a bar of soap. This man is a good man, strong especially for peasants in Europe. Irish peasants were strong because of the potato. But an intent for moral reform would cause them to die. This man would not live to see the end of the Irish Potato Famine. It all started like a death wave. All across Europe, the people in Ireland, all across Europe, a bacterial strain destroyed dozens of potatoes. And potatoes are not something you want to mess with in Europe. Potatoes are a miracle crop brought over from Peru. You see, even more devious than myonators, most other countries in Europe, nearly all of them, made it through the famine years without experiencing the dread that Ireland experienced. The people who were scattered to... So, Britain and Ireland, friends, yes? No, no, no. You see, Ireland. On paper, it was the Irish and British Empire that spanned across the world. But in reality, the Irish and British the Irish were the first test of colonialism in the British Empire, kept under Britain's cruel thumb. I'm afraid to say it gets worse. You see, Ireland had a landowner system that made it quite vulnerable to crop failure. You see, farmers would purchase land at exorbitant rent prices. Prices at which the lands could not sustain the earth itself. Farmers, they planted crops on rocky hills and over beaches just to get by. But they managed. You see, before 1845, it was common for an Irish family to own a cow. After that, but by the famine, they were only allowed a pig. And for millennia, the Irish Catholics, they were not allowed to become lawyers, to enter politics, to even go to university. Britain was pulling Hitler tactics, destroying the education system. I'm sure we have no idea what he is talking about today, America. But Great Britain was terrible. When the first wave of famine hit, they knew people would die, and they made an unforgivable decision. The British, they would use this famine as a way of moral reform. Saying it makes my mouth ready to puke. Britain would let the Irish starve, hoping them to industrialize. They thought that the potato crop had made them lazy, says the British Nepo baby born into nobility. And the Irish would move into more mechanical sectors and industrialize. Unfortunately, it never happened, 'cause everyone could see the flaw in this system. You see, part of the famine was the land system, yes, but the other factor was terrifyingly human. Dun, dun, dun. It was so human because it was done by human hands. The British government, they thought they would reform the Irish. They argued the famine was God's work. The famine was, and while the blight may have been the work of a deity, it was indeed the work of man, the famine. Death, destruction, and disorder would follow.